here. Meteorologist Colleen Campbell's here. Welcome to our Wednesday weather update. And today it's actually live. It's got to be 4:30. And it's because we have some weather in the area. We actually have a weather impact alert in effect for our area right now. That's our 10 Tampa Bay way of kind of giving you a heads up that it's going to be more inconvenient weather than anything else. It's not an official watch or warning or anything like that. There is no severe weather in the area, but there's a lot of rain, and we've had quite a bit of rain, which a lot of folks aren't even complaining, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, we've
a lot
been
of people
in a
are
drought.
hurting.
Yeah. So what we're going to do today, we're going to do a couple things. We're going to talk about what's going on outside. As you can see there, we'll show you the radar.
Yeah.
We're going to go through the next several days because we will be drying things out just a little bit. Part of this moisture that you're seeing out there is actually from the tropics. It's tropical moisture over top of us. And so we're going to touch base on that. We'll do the tropical update. And then, Colleen, you've got some data. You kind of crunched the numbers about May.
Oh yeah, I love nerding out
May.
about the monthly recap. So I have my summary. We're going to talk about how warm May was, maybe start guessing. Do you think it was the first warmest May, the fifth warmest May? Records go back to 1890, Bobby. So we'll
1 through 5 is all. You're saying it's at least top 5?
It's top 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you got to guess your number at home, and then we'll let you know what number it was coming up here in just a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, let's get started with the rain. Let's take you live outside right now, but this is kind of more of just a regular old forecast because it's been raining for the better part of the day. You can see we still have gray skies out there, 76 degrees. That is the beautiful part. It keeps us cooler. 90 is average for this time of the year. We're getting ready to get up to about 91 degrees.
Wow.
But there it is. There's soggy day.
It's a beautiful sight.
It really is, you know. And the other side of this is we don't have any severe weather.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. We don't expect any. I don't want to jinx this, but I think we're okay.
Yeah.
But we are getting rain over those really hard-hit drought areas, which really is Manatee, Sarasota County, Hardy, DeSoto. Those areas that are getting rain right now are some of the hardest hit, and just about everybody could use it. So the immediate Tampa Bay area, some light rain moving through South Tampa right now. Apollo Beach is actually starting to clear just a little bit. But Brandon, here it goes, good steady rainfall, and at 4:30, that's when everybody's heading out. Traffic cams are all crowded at this point, and it looks like Malfunction Junction is wet now. We'll stay that way for at least another 30 minutes. I-4 from Malfunction Junction all the way up through Lakeland is wet at this point, so obviously that's going to slow things down. Again, no severe weather. The Tampa Bay area doesn't even have any lightning in it, and this storm you see here right now at Lakewood Ranch area, I don't even see much in the way of lightning. I see a really good downpour there.
Yeah. And again, this is playing into our weather impact alert. I know people see alert and they go, whoa, what do I have to be on the lookout for? But really, this comes down, in this case at least, it's an inconvenience, right? We are getting into heart of rush hour, and many of you are, maybe you're watching this from work, you're getting ready to go home, or we have some people that are on the night shift and you may be heading to work, picking your kids up from, wherever they may be, if they have any indoor activities. Yeah, so the rain can be heavy in spots when you get those downpours, especially along those highways or the poor drainage areas. You really want to be on the lookout for any ponding you may see, some isolated flooding.
And this I-75 stretch is going to have a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And obviously all here in Lakewood Ranch is going to see some pretty good rain right now. Now, inland counties, look at Highlands. Highlands way out here on the right side. Can you believe we have viewers that watch out here? That's
Yeah.
a long way out. Beautiful country out there too, by the way. But good rainfall. Now, having said that, Highlands and southeastern Polk County and here, you guys have had all the rain.
Oh, they're the favorite.
Yes.
Yeah, they're the favorite children of Mother Nature lately.
We've had a lot of westerly winds,
Yeah.
right? And when that happens, you get a small chance for rain along the coast, especially the first half of the day. But then you get the bigger storms to build and move off towards the east. And that's why this area's had more rain. This is not that, obviously. This is a little bit different setup here. We'll explain what it is, but obviously just about everybody's getting a little bit of rain. Polk County's going to have more than anything else. Now, I didn't say anything about Pasco, Hernando, and Citrus. I know you've had some rain, and there's some right now in Spring Hill, Brooksville area, Hernando County. But you can see there is still some more moisture offshore, and the thing to get from this picture is just the size, or at least the area of moisture. Look at all of that.
Yeah.
Right? That's not typical.
Right.
Right? We get
This
some
is not your normal rainy season once we get those southeast winds, but this is all tied to that upper level low.
Yeah, the upper level low is sitting out here. We'll show you that and what it's doing. It actually has cooler and drier air up above right here. So you don't see as much rain out here, right? But look what it's doing. It's pulling in all of this moisture that's moving up across the state. It's moving out over off the East Coast and up into the Carolinas eventually as well. This is the water vapor loop, and this shows you that upper level low. The yellow right there, don't think about intensity. This is not scary, nothing like that. I know it looks a little bit, but what you're seeing right here is that low. See this little low spinning right here, dropping down, dropping down. What it's doing is bringing some cooler and dry air aloft, but it's also feeding this tropical, it's pulling all this tropical moisture up. And that's where we've been sitting. And so central and eastern parts of the state have been seeing quite a bit of rain. And now look up towards Wilmington, up towards Jacksonville and Myrtle Beach area, Charleston. Look at all the rain that's going to be moving up there. We're actually looking at moisture in the atmosphere, not necessarily rain, but that's what's been driving this. Now, the Hurricane Center has been looking at this, right? And they said that there's actually a small chance for development. And what they're talking about is this area here drifting off towards the Carolinas. Now, yesterday, that was a 10% chance in the next 2 days and 10% days 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Now they've dropped it down to 0. You can see all of the moisture. So my stepbrother texted me today, what's my weather going to be? Because he's hearing about that too in Myrtle Beach area, right?
Yeah.
Cherry Grove, they're getting rain. They're getting rain right now. There's not going to be any severe, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't think there'll be any severe weather, but they will definitely get some heavy rainfall. That's the main issue. Kind of like what we saw, although they could actually in some spots get a little bit more rain than what we saw. So that's it. As far as tropics go right now, we're actually looking really good. What I wanted to show you here, and you're looking at the wind arrows, is there's no surface low forming here, right? One way you can figure that out is by looking at the winds. And if you see the winds in here, see they kind of start to go like this, but they're not coming around, okay?
Yeah.
So there's no closed low right there. We think it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a couple things to think about here. So anything tropical, right, we have to have that stack system, and any stronger winds that we have in the upper levels of the atmosphere, which a upper level low would do, give us those stronger winds, that would not allow a tropical system to form. But the reason why, one of the reasons why the National Hurricane Center just kind of tagged that area to watch was that if that low did weaken, and as Bobby was just saying, did become a surface low just off the coast of the Carolinas, it could take on tropical characteristics. But again, that chance did become lower. Bobby's showing the low right now, that big area of bright yellow and orange. That's that circulation that we're looking at. It's drier air that's basically trapped in there, and because of the way the winds are blowing, more of a southwesterly wind, rainy season, we usually look for an area high pressure off the coast, and that gives us a southeasterly wind, southwesterly wind. Depends what way the winds are blowing, where you're going to see the rain. Lately, we've had southwesterly winds, so we've been having more rain inlands. But anyway, getting back to this tropical system, the system that wanted to turn tropical, I should say. There's a lot of factors that go into
There's
that,
a lot of
right?
wind shear there.
Yeah.
So those arrows that I drew there,
yeah,
that's a ton of wind shear, and you get that on the side of those upper level lows. That's why we don't get
Yes.
tropical systems around there.
Yeah.
Also, that orange area, the yellow area that you see here, this is cooler air aloft too. And drier air. That's what the yellow is showing you, is the real dry air. That is not good for making hurricanes. So this system, and then this is the good news, it's not meant to make tropical systems. The reason why the Hurricane Center was watching here is because it's moved away from this dry air, moved away from this shear that you see coming up across the eastern Gulf, and it's out here in a little bit area where you have a little bit better chance. It does not look again like that's going to happen. We'll jump ahead real fast and then we'll get out into some of our forecasts now. So let's get back here at home, and now what you're looking at is the forecast model. So let's go through tonight. I'm going to stop the clock here around 8 o'clock, and I think we get a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
So this widespread light rain we've seen tends to fall apart when we lose the daytime heating. And so kind of looks the same thing, and I think that's what we'll expect for tonight. That big pool of moisture I circled, the whole state, that's been there. But it died out a little bit overnight last night. Then as we heated back up during the day, we start making more showers and thunderstorms. So tonight, logically, as we cool back down, we will start to see some of the rain taper off. Now watch what happens along the eastern Gulf. Look at the left side of the screen there. And this goes out to about 2 in the morning. So remember, we still have this low sitting out here, and it's still doing this. And so it's creating lift in that area, and that's going to help. Now this is the opposite. Stick with me here. You remember in the summertime, the land heats up in the afternoon to about 90, 95 degrees. The water's 80 to 85, right? You get a sea breeze. This air starts to rise, so you get this air coming in. to fill in the void of this air coming up. Well, now we're in the low 70s here. We're in the mid 80s here.
Yeah.
So we have rising air here, and we have this low sitting out here with the eastern side coming up with this lift right here. So that's going to help spark this line of showers and thunderstorms. So just looking at this map, I can say, well, you know what? That makes sense.
Yeah.
And just the sea breeze, right, Colleen? And then, land breeze. It's the opposite of sea breeze.
Yeah.
And where we know that low is, because I can show you another model doesn't have this.
Yeah.
And we don't like doing. We sit in the weather center, we look at our models, and one says yes and one says no.
Yeah.
And like, all right, now we got to put our meteorological caps on and figure it out.
Right.
That's why we went with this one, because we think this one is just kind of showing you what the atmosphere looks like. So let's go out through 6, 7 in the morning, and I stop it here because of that morning commute. All right, that looks like we could see a little bit of rain for the morning commute. I think that's overdone, but I still think we'll see some. And then as we move our way through the day, that will actually start to taper off just a little bit. So what can you expect for our weather impact alert? Well, we're keeping it in effect until 11 o'clock tonight. Technically, we could carry it through the morning commute tomorrow morning, but I think most of the rain will be overnight before the morning commute. We'll just have to watch for a few wet roads after that. Severe weather risk is very low. We're not expecting severe thunderstorms or certainly tornadoes or anything like that. We'll keep an eye on it, of course.
Yeah.
And then, Colleen, here you go. We're drying out.
Yeah,
At least a
I
little
love
bit.
to see it just in time for the weekend. A lot of events going on this weekend. Boy, we got the Metallica concert. We also have baseball games stacked back to back, one being tonight. Bobby, what do you think about rain delays?
Well,
7 o'clock is first pitch, 7:35.
I think we got a better chance of getting the full game in tonight than we did yesterday.
Yeah,
just because we were
definitely.
starting to see it fall apart. This time last night, we were seeing a wave come up from the south.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't really have that right now, so that's good news for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for the start of the game, you may see a little bit of rain, but I think by the end, we'll start to taper off there. And then again, we'll get another round of it in the overnight hours. So if anybody's heading out or heading home, if going out, little adult drink, whatever you may want to do, just be aware that we will still have some bands of rain come through in the overnight hours. So please be careful driving.
Here's a look at the radar now, and you can see where the game is, and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
If you look at Weather 1 right now, you can see there's just nothing there. The rain is just to the east of it. And here's the difference tonight versus last night is we've got this another wave coming. That's
Right.
not that different, but it's moving more north-northeast. Last night it was going north-northwest.
Yeah.
And we've got a gap here. So can we get another shower? Can this make it all the way up here? Yes, it can. This one is the one I'd be worried about more than anything else, and that's going to move up through Fishhawk and up towards Plant City and Lakeland. So I think we've got a better chance of getting it in for this evening.
Right. Yeah.
All right, we want to talk tropics?
Yeah. Let's get
Okay.
into it.
So that time of year, June 1st, is, of course, officially the season starts. So we had our first area to watch, that area that was off of the Carolinas, and that's gone now. But, anytime you're looking at your satellite over the tropics, first thing you do is you look at where the clouds are. You see this little wave down here, you can't see it, don't worry about it. But you see all the clouds here, right? That's the one we're talking about. This was the area they're watching. They say 0 now. And then you start looking in here. And you're going to get a lot of clouds in here. This is called the Central American Gyre.
Yeah.
And it's the daytime heating over Central America causes the air to lift, causes these clouds to form. It causes an area of low pressure right in here. Okay, and the winds go around counterclockwise. And what can happen is you can get something to develop here and kind of pinwheel off. Develop here and pinwheel off. And so that's why we really watch it this time of the year, because we could end up seeing something develop. And the models will sense that, right?
Yeah.
Typical for this time of the year. Right now, we're not seeing much develop off of that. The GFS is saying yes, in days 12, 13, and 14, we have some major hurricane. It's been saying that for 2 weeks. The GFS has been off its rocker for 9 to 10 months. So this is before the Doge cuts. Something's wrong with that model.
Yeah, we just had a big meeting about this.
Yeah.
All the meteorologists around the state and NOAA, we were all talking about that. And we said, what is going on with the GFS? Sometimes it likes to bring some drama to the table, right? But the other models, the Canadian model, the ICON, the European model, all of them are not backing that up. So we haven't been concerned. Getting back to the gyre, the Pacific storm season, hurricane season, they start their season earlier. And there's a reason for that. They usually heat up earlier and they start to see their first storm, which they just had their first named storm, Alvin.
Alvin came up and did something like this.
Yep.
This little area right here is we're watching. It looks like it wants to develop in here, and it's probably going to do something very similar, go to that tip of Baja. So not a lot going on. Well, I shouldn't say that, but as you said, Colleen, it starts May 15th.
Right.
Right. We start June 1st.
Yeah.
And they've had two systems. Well, they've had one, maybe two systems on the way.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see right now. But here's the other side of this. The Center for Weather Prediction is circling that CAG area, the Central American Gyre, and just west to where that system is in the East Pacific. Now I just showed you. They're thinking for the next 2 weeks, that's a prime area for development. Not necessarily the Gulf, not necessarily the Western Caribbean. Really good news for us. What they're kind of saying here, I can draw it on here for you, is basically this area right in here, a little bit of the Western Caribbean, right in here, with a better chance right in here for development.
Yeah,
That's
and you
what
can
they're
see
saying.
all that with the clouds. Those are clouds you're looking at, by the way, all that activity, all those bright colors. I think sometimes people get confused between the radar and
Oh, yeah.
what they're seeing on satellite. Our tropical satellite, definitely a lot more colorful than the regular satellite that you're used to seeing. By the way, Bobby, I know you had a graphic on the Saharan dust. I see a little bit of smoke. That's the only reason why I bring it off the coast of California.
Yep. Well, let's get to this no development, because
Yep.
I've got that coming up here in just a minute. Next 7 days. One of the reasons is that smoke. And so it's actually a couple of different things. There's smoke from wildfires in Canada. And that has actually spun out. See where I see the wildfire smoke up near the top? And you look at all the white on the right-hand side of the screen right there. That's smoke that was pulled down over the last week and a half and is now spinning around areas of low pressures out over the Atlantic. So it's beginning to thin out for our friends in the southeast. For us, we have the Saharan dust. This is dust from the Saharan desert that gets kicked up in the storms, floats up in the air, and drifts all the way over to our neck of the woods, especially in the month of June, a little bit in July. It's normally the beginning of the season. This dust falls into the water in the eastern Gulf of Mexico, feeds an organism. That organism becomes food for red tide. It's a natural occurrence here, but it can actually make things a little bit worse for us as far as that goes. But this is expected. This is what we tend to see this time of the year. I don't think it'll have a major impact on our red tide this particular time. Cross my fingers on that one. But here's the forecast model. So this is putting it in the time now. And I'm just going to say it. Everybody says that this dust makes for spectacular sunrises and sunsets, and I don't think so. I used to think that. I used to say that on TV. Have you ever been somewhere where there's a lot of smog and the sun sets down through the smog? It's muted.
Yeah.
It can be real red and orange, but it's nothing like a crisp sunrise with underneath high clouds, the oranges and the yellows, and just things you would take pictures of.
Nice cirrus clouds. Sometimes
Yeah.
those little ice crystals, they give that effect, but I see what you're saying.
You're not going
yeah.
to see blue sky in the background,
Right.
and then rays of sunshine coming through and lighting up the clouds. It's going to be muted.
Yes.
It's going to look like something from Star Wars, like a scene from whatever that one Earth was. Sam, get in my ear and tell me you know what that is. Luke Skywalker was born there. Those sunsets, that's what it's going to look like. Now back to the model. It's going to stick around through Thursday into Friday. This is Thursday evening. That is Friday into Saturday. You can see it's getting thinner and thinner. So we'll have it around, but it is something that we'll be dealing with. By the way, I wanted to back up and just show you what our models are saying for that low for the Carolinas, the one that they had a 10% chance on. It's sitting right there in the northeast Gulf of Mexico, at least that's where the model thinks. But then look at northeast of Jacksonville. By this afternoon, that's where it kind of thinks it's developing.
Yeah.
And then you can see by 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, model thinks it's right in here. This is for my stepbrother, Davey. Davey, you're out there. That's your rain, right into Wilmington, especially up into eastern North Carolina for Thursday. And then by the time we get into Friday morning, Friday afternoon, it's trying to close a little low here east of Norfolk, and then you can see it's going to take further off out into the Atlantic. So it's not. The point is, it's not coming out here over very warm water, developing and slamming the coast. It's not going to develop.
Right.
Just don't
Bobby,
get
I was going to say, as far as the water temperature goes, you would know better than anybody. So 80 degrees is like the standard threshold for these storms really to thrive.
Yep.
Off the coast of Wilmington, right now it would be, what, 70s?
It's getting there. In fact, do I have it on the map here? It's 74 degrees. They've had actually a cold snap.
Yeah.
This water temperature map is showing you everything that's 80 degrees or higher in the red color. That's what you need to make hurricanes, right? The warmer, the better. And they've had, it's tough to see because I can't pull that down, but they've had this 74 degrees in there, which is it's actually kind of cool. But when we look at tropics, we don't look at just where it's 80 degrees because we know most areas are there. We look at how warm or cool than average is that water temperature right now.
Right.
And the Gulf now is warmer than average. The Caribbean, for the most part, is warmer than average. And if you look out in the Eastern Atlantic, which we don't really get into until later in the season, but that started out cooler than average. So did the Gulf last week. Excuse me, the Caribbean last week.
Cooler than the last 2 years.
Yeah. But that has warmed up in the past week. And basically all this means is this is kind of gasoline for fire. Like if a storm forms, it'll be easier to form over that warm water. And so there's probably a better chance that we see more storms. That's why we have these forecasts. So on an average year, we see 14 named storms. 7 of those become hurricanes, and 3 of those become Cat 3s or higher, 111 mile per hour winds. Look at the forecast. They're all right around 17 named storms. This time last year, Colorado State, CSU, they had 18. And we saw 18 on the far right-hand side. This means nothing to you. This just means we might be busy watching storms. This has nothing to do with exactly how many formed or where they will go.
Right.
And that is the key.
Yeah.
All right, so it only takes one storm. We'll let you know when to worry, and we're not going to post 12, 13, 14-day GFS plots on social media, so sorry.
We promise, yeah.
Promise that,
we don't
yeah.
like that. Yeah, a lot of people say too, oh man, like it feels like every year they say that it's going to be above average year. Well, yeah. 2015 was the last time that we had a below average year, and there's good reason for that. We just went over all the reasons why we see these storms and more active seasons, that water temperature being being a big one.
Okay, let's get everybody to guess how warm May was. What was your number? You're going to give us a number right off the bat? How do you want to do that?
I have it lined up. Well, oops, they didn't show it. Okay. After my second graphic. So I'm going to start off saying, all right, so we have a collaboration, if you will, with Climate Central, and they are nice enough to gather all this information and send us this graph that since 1970, you're seeing about 4 degree rise in temperatures. This is just for May. So the average high temperature in May, 4 degrees warmer than what it was in 1970. So we've been on that steady incline. All right, now you can take your guesses. Top 5, where do you think we rank for the warmest May? For Tampa. This is not including
I think
any
I kind of know, but I'm still going to take a guess. I'm going to go second.
Yeah, you nailed it, Bobby Deskins.
Well, I kind of knew. What did you think at home? Let us know. So get on social media and let us know.
Yeah, leave us a comment. All right, so it's the second warmest May, 2025. Last year was number 1 spot. And then notice spot number 4, we actually hit that twice in 2022 and 2019. 81.6. Now you have to remember, this is the average temperature, so you're taking the morning lows as well as the daytime highs, and you're combining them together throughout the month and taking that average. All right, going back to your basic math here. The highest max temperature, so the afternoon high temperature, we're not including the morning in this, was 95 degrees, and we hit that temperature both on the 27th and the 29th. So yeah, and these records go back to 1890. And we're coming towards the end of our time here. Look at this. This is the warmest mornings that we have had. Count them, 7 mornings where we have beat records. This is the warmest low temperature. So we started off our mornings in the upper 70s and low 80s on May 29th. That was the warmest morning for May. The morning's low, 81 degrees, Bobby.
And why is that? Why did that happen? Anybody know? Want to raise their hand? The drought. That was because of the drought. We have not had rain to cool the Gulf temperatures. Plus, we had that west and southwest wind. Remember, we were talking about how Eastern Polk County and Highlands County got all that rain. That water stays warm because it doesn't cool off with the afternoon showers and thunderstorms. You know how it cools the air. It also puts colder water into the Gulf water to knock that temperature down. We didn't have any of that. We had a lot of sunshine. We had 95 degrees twice. So everything heats up, the land and the water, and then you get a warm wind, a consistent west to southwest wind off the water, especially in the mornings, and you're going to get those very warm overnight temps.
Yeah. Yeah, so one more thing. The droughts, Bobby, you were just talking about, many of you are probably saying, well, we just got all this rain. What's going on? Well, hopefully we will see some improvements in the drought monitor. We will. It's released every Thursday. The data cutoff is every Tuesday. The May rainfall total wound up being 4.18 inches. The month, we were in a surplus by 1.5 inches, a little bit more than 1.5 inches. But we're still in a deficit for the year.
Awesome. All right, guys, that's it for our Wednesday weather wrap-up. We're heading over to 10 Tampa Bay on air. Head over there right now. We've got not only the latest on the radar, the weather, but also the top headlines here for 10 Tampa Bay coming from the newsroom. We'll have all that for you coming up here in just a little bit. Thanks for watching, guys.